because of my history with rejection, like I craved what I was afraid of. Like I wanted intimacy, but it scared me at the same time because it was like, do I dare myself to actually hope for and believe that it's going to last? Or is it just another carrot hanging on a string and it's going to be pulled away from me again? So there's always that potential of how much do I let myself be known and how much do I really get to know that person where everybody seems to leave me and I'm always by myself anyway, And so what changed for me was I spent a lot of time meditating on the fact that God actually desired me, like that he actually wanted me, and that began to break down my walls. And so now, like, regardless if she leaves or if she stays, I'm okay because now I'm not saying that wouldn't hurt and probably smash me to bits. It probably would, but I have an eternal lover that is he doesn't just want to spend eternity with me. He wants to be with me right now.
Hello and welcome back to the Gen Free Podcast. Why aren't you clapping?
Because I was letting the yellow button do the clapping for me.
You gotta clap along with it.
No, we clap along with it.
You know the standard.
Sorry, I know it's not like I haven't been on here enough times. I should know what the deal is, right?
Most reoccurring.
Right.
Exactly. You know what? Like you started clapping before him.
That's
and
true.
I went around.
Yeah,
a round of applause.
She's a natural.
She's pumped to be
She's
here.
a natural.
That's cool.
I am.
All right, this is a student-led podcast focused on discovering God's freedom in our everyday lives, because I always forget to say that right afterwards.
You nailed it.
Welcome to Gen Free Podcast. This is me, Sawyer Robertson. I am still doing this.
I mean, thankfully, right? Yeah. That's good.
Co-host Sawyer Robinson.
Exactly.
Did you just say Robinson?
I almost did. I know, and you scolded. Who said that? The one episode you scolded them. You're like, "I'll kill you."
This is my worst pet peeve. It has been passed down for generations.
It's Robertson.
Good save. Good save.
I did. I kind of pulled away and corrected
So
myself.
you already introduced our co-host. I'm gonna introduce myself, Ayana Cruz. I'm the host. Yes. And then we have our guest today, the lovely couple, Brian and Nicole Connolly. I was about to pronounce Brian wrong. That would have been funny.
You could have rolled your R with it, Brian, right? Instead of Cruz.
I roll my R.
You do it every time with your last name.
I do it because with the word. I can't.
Okay.
I can't
do any of that.
Emma, our oldest, she struggles so hard, like with Spanish. She's like, I can't roll my R's, and I just do it over and over. And she goes, "How do you do that?" I'm like, I don't know. It's just in there.
It like. In the language, most time it just comes out in the word.
Yeah.
Cruz.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
My Spanish name was Veronica, but I couldn't roll my R's, so it didn't sound very Spanish.
I was Simon.
I was Enrique.
Nice.
Mine was the same.
It's fitting, right?
Whistle,
It makes sense.
I can't do any of it. I just can't.
For real?
Yeah,
I can't
I'm a
roll
dud.
my R's either. The most I can do is make a Chewbacca noise. That's it.
Like when you
That is it. I can't roll my R's.
it's the lip quiver.
Yeah, I know. That's how I do it.
Oh my
Just
I have to
God.
like focus and make my chin shake.
Oh, Sawyer.
Just hanging out on Kashyyyk with the rest of the Wookiees.
Yeah. Or I'm like trying to blend in and I
That's a
just have
talent
like
right
a
there.
spear or something and I'm just like
No, it ain't. All right, so y'all know what topic you're here for.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah, would you like to announce it? What topic
Before
are you
we
here
go there, there is something on my heart that I have to bring up. This is exceedingly important for everybody watching.
sounds good.
Oh, no.
I don't advocate bullying,
Mhm.
right? I don't advocate calling people out. However, I feel like I was targeted and somebody had given my wife this hat. This is a Sheets hat. And so my wife had mentioned that somebody who will not be named, which is not Lord Voldemort, by the way, but somebody that is an intern within this ministry who strongly advocates for Sheets, knowing full well that I choose Wawa.
I choose Wawa.
Chose.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a hate crime.
It is.
I feel
I
targeted. I feel judged. I feel called out.
You know, sometimes
I feel
bullying
triggered
is justified.
a little bit.
No, I'm kidding.
In this instance,
Sometimes it's
because your
justified.
team cheats, right? So she who will
I'm
not
Wawa.
be named.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
Wawa.
you are
Yeah, all of us
Wawa.
are
Oh my
Wawa.
goodness!
Oh,
yeah,
my goodness.
I like the set we have going on.
Yeah.
Here. I agree.
So
We
it
can't wear that
is,
hat.
in my opinion, an act of war.
Yeah,
that has not
I
begun.
agree.
An act of war.
I
We need to
agree.
find a Wawa hat.
We can burn it.
Wait.
It's fine.
And there it
He
goes.
just eat it.
Wait until they have a taste of the
Oh
whole
my
meat.
goodness.
True.
It makes all the difference.
That's true.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
It was clever.
You
I
know
didn't
who
even
you are.
realize what she was doing with it. She's like, "Here's this hat," and then I was like,
You pronoun drop. Now we know.
Oh,
Well, I said she who will not be
She.
named.
She.
I thought you
Yes.
said I thought you said Voldemort.
Well, I said, and it's not Lord Voldemort,
Oh,
because that is he who shall not be
Yeah.
named.
Yeah, there's only two guys anyway, so it's best bet.
There's more females, so
True.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you really
So
called her
we
out.
just pulled it out.
I'm not sure we can
It's
continue.
on.
Yeah, it's
You
now
know,
on.
you know who you are.
yeah, you know.
I mean, I'm sure they do. We made it very noticeable. After this episode comes out, it is widespread. But yeah.
100%.
I feel like that's just gonna carry over through every episode. We're just gonna somehow bring it up.
Sheets and Wawa
We
are
gotta
going to
get,
be in there.
like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wawa merch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's out
we're gonna
there.
have to.
Yeah.
The fact that she went out of her way to buy a hat,
Yeah.
I'm like, that is pretty clever. However, that's a transgression.
Wow,
and
we need a
shots will be
sponsorship.
fired back.
Wow,
retaliation.
Retaliation.
we need a
I agree.
You
sponsorship.
should just have
Yes.
Wawa food next time.
Oh
Just-
yeah, a mukbang, a Wawa
mukbang.
mukbang.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, mukbang. That's how it's pronounced. No, like a Wawa. Like we all sit there, we talk about the Lord, and we eat Wawa.
I'm down.
I
Whatever.
think that's a good
We can do
episode.
that.
ASMR. All right. Now
Yes.
that we've gotten that,
That's
Now
out.
that we've
Air
got it
cleared.
out.
Feels good. It's off my chest. It feels right.
I just need y'all to announce the topic.
Topic.
You want to take it, babe?
Dating and marriage.
Yay, part 2.
That's a good one.
It is a good one.
It is.
We were talking on the way in. You could probably do dating, like independently of marriage. I mean, that's a whole thing in and of itself, let alone both together. So
I know our last episode we did Caleb and Bethany, and
Yep.
they were doing the same.
love those guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. They were doing the same
we were-
topic.
so funny. Me
That's
and Kayla
awesome.
were just laughing at each other.
That's awesome.
It was hilarious.
We also had an out of context joke from beforehand that we did not give context to for the audience, and
No,
we
they
just
don't
talked
need
about it
the
the entire
context.
time.
They don't need the context. You guys can deal with it. Got it? All right.
Yeah, looking at you, Jeff.
So before we get in, Jeff's invisible. If you
Yeah.
haven't
Okay.
noticed.
I was like, wait a second.
No, he's real.
I feel like
Okay.
Michael Scott. I love inside jokes. I hope to be a part of one someday.
I mean, if you listen back to Jeff's right there.
We know who
Oh,
Jeff.
okay.
Jeff, you
All
know
right.
who you are.
Hello, Jeff.
Say hi. Yeah. I was gonna say be polite.
Yeah, it's good. You want to recognize people and
Yeah.
honor them in the room. So
Yeah,
it's good to have you, Jeff.
yeah, absolutely.
Before we
thank you
get
for-
into this.
It's a good thing you have questions, Ayana. Otherwise, we may not be recovering.
we have a very quick icebreaker because now we're 6 minutes in.
Oh,
Let's
man.
go on a
It's fine.
tangent.
No,
All
it's
right.
fine.
I mean, we still got
We're having
time.
fun.
I mean, I think we went an hour with Brian last time, so it's fine.
Yeah, we really did.
Yeah, it was on depression. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot to unpack. So the icebreaker is, Valentine's Day just went away,
Ooh.
and we're obviously talking about dating and marriage. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys enjoy doing together? And for us, what do we enjoy doing alone?
We're not trying. Yeah, 'cause don't want to imply anything, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, who's answering first?
Go ahead, babe. Ladies first. Yeah.
We like to watch movies together.
True.
Mhm.
I would say that's up there. Movies. What else do we like to do? Goodness, getting away together, going
Yeah.
out on dates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a
just
big
having
thing. Going
nice,
out to
quiet
eat.
meal together.
Yeah. Sometimes it's as simple as just being up first in the morning and the kids
Drinking
aren't up
coffee together.
and sitting down and just
Yeah.
being like, this is nice, because like our oldest is 15, the twins are 10, no, soon to be 10. They're 9 years old. And so that's a long time of, you just don't have a lot of time
Yeah.
alone. Right. And so our house isn't the biggest. So it's a home, 6 people. So any kind of just quiet time to be like, hey, like what's on your heart? What are you thinking? What about this? And just connecting and talking. Yeah.
I guess you kind of answered too.
Yeah.
I mean, we like
Yeah.
to play Settlers of Catan. That's like our favorite game, but
Yes.
that's usually
I
with
heard
the
your
Bowers.
parents just got that.
Yeah, and I
So.
think I already saw it unpacked on the table. I think an obsession is about to start.
Yeah.
Yep.
No
Yeah,
idea
so
what
I'm
that
We'll
is.
go
scared.
easy on you guys.
Oh yeah, because I heard
They-
they're
yeah,
like they
they
want to
wanna
invite
come.
you over
Yeah.
for this game, so I'm scared.
Let's go.
I heard my mom said, "Oh yeah, she's competitive." I said, "And my mom in the same room."
Well-
this
Is your mom competitive? Oh,
I'm not as
no.
competitive as the rest of them.
Is that like Latino blood or
I-
is that
Yeah, maybe.
okay?
No, because my abuela is mad competitive.
Okay.
Like she's crazy competitive.
It's the passion
It's the
of
passion.
the Latina. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
love it.
Latina passion.
Yeah, I
I
love
want
it.
that on a shirt. Latina passion.
That'd be a nice
And then
shirt.
that will be our team when we beat you guys.
Oh,
it's on
I
now.
love it. Better that than team sheets.
Yeah, for real.
Lame.
For real. We're going to a Wawa house. Don't even worry about it. So you're single. So what do you like to do alone?
bang.
I saw you guys did something, you single guys, I think.
Oh, yeah.
That there were some
The
pictures
photo
taken
shoot.
and stuff.
Two of us have relationships out of that group. So, but
Okay.
we went and we got we went and did a Valentine's Day shoot as the boys.
Oh, cool.
and
It was cute.
That sounds
quite
fun.
fun.
Were you playing The Boys Are Back in Town as it was happening?
So
No,
fun.
I think
That would be awesome.
I forget what me and Chris were listening to. But we were probably listening to something dumb because we just laugh at each other.
That's awesome. It's good to have fun.
But in general, I think I would probably say just like to hang out with friends and well, I mean, besides that, I like to draw and watch movies and shows as well. So
Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what show though? That really changes things. What's your show right now? I guess that is the
Well,
question.
I've really been enjoying The Last of Us. I've been a fan of the games and for a long time, and so I've been watching the show. And I also started watching a K-drama.
I strike you as the K-drama type.
Cool.
Yeah. I strike
That
you-
lines up.
Yeah. That lines up. Is it like a romance
makes
one?
sense.
I feel like you'd watch a romance one.
Well, I mean,
'Cause the romance is kinda tragic.
There's a romance plot line, but it's also All of Us Are Dead. It's on Netflix. It's also a zombie show. So,
Mm.
oh, so you're on a zombie kick.
well, I mean, I've already seen it. I just decided to rewatch it.
Oh, okay.
So-
Okay. I've heard good things. My friend.
It's
has
a good
watched it.
show.
Yeah.
It's not very Christian, but it's still a good
It's
show.
violent.
Just confess that right out of the gate.
Be like, just a discretion warning.
Right. I might be a host, however.
Disclaimer.
I do. Yeah.
Disclaimer.
It's good though.
It's
pretty
good.
good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Just if you have something against zombies, don't watch it.
It's pretty
There
solid.
you go. All right. What I like doing alone,
Yeah, let's have it.
I love to sleep.
Oh, I like naps.
Now you're talking her
I love
language.
naps. Like, I get so exhausted during the day, and like I have like health issues. So like just to like lay there and just like, it's like great. It's excellent.
I'm gonna be honest. Anymore, they just happen. I don't know, because like I've been so busy and
Just
like
a middle-aged man, Sawyer.
middle-aged,
Falling asleep.
Just falling
Wherever.
middle-aged at 18. Cool.
Falling asleep while
That's
sitting
sad.
up.
Cool.
Just, yeah.
So, but like I'm so busy during the day, and I get home like earlier than everybody else, and then I have time before I get here. So I just like fall asleep and then wake up right before I have to leave.
Nice.
So, and I don't because I used to hate naps, and
You're
I
one of those
like
kids?
despise them because like I could be doing something. You can sleep at night. That's what the night's for. Why would I sleep when I could be doing something else?
But if your body's speaking, and
Yeah,
it's
I know. It
tired,
just happens.
It just crash. Yeah.
Um,
And I'm the master of a cat nap. I can do 10 minutes, bang,
need
right back
longer.
up. She can't.
No.
I like 30, 45.
I
an
will put
hour.
on a timer and it'll be like 3 hours later. I'm like,
Whoa!
oh,
Wow.
Good morning,
That
y'all.
is a sufficient
I
nap.
can still
man.
go to
That
sleep
doesn't happen.
afterwards.
or you
Doesn't happen
or you
for us.
wake up and it's dark outside. That is the worst feeling.
Yeah, especially
Oh,
at this
yeah,
time
yeah,
of year.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy for that to happen. My goodness.
Worst feeling.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I feel like a zombie.
Oh my goodness. It's getting to you. It's getting to you. It's getting to you.
That's awesome.
All right, so we're gonna jump into this
All right,
dating.
let's do it.
Let's do
Ready
it.
for me to lay it on thick.
Just repeated what I said.
Yeah?
See where
We do that a lot.
All right,
Oh
I'm
my
ready
goodness,
for it.
They're a couple. We're
Yeah.
gonna lay
What's
it
so
on
funny though is like she kind of looked over the questions. I'm like, no, I'm gonna be spontaneous. I,
did.
don't want
I
to
would've
know.
done
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I don't even look at the question.
Yeah.
Opposites attract.
Yeah.
There you go. In some ways,
Yeah.
some ways not. We'll discuss this.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll find out if
Anyway,
that's true. Yeah.
we will.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball.
What you
You're
say?
you're watching
Dragon
Disney
Ball
Channel.
Z.
You're currently
amazing.
watching Camp Rock.
Do the Crunchyroll one, like the Crunchyroll intro. You know what it is?
If you subscribe to Crunchyroll,
Yep.
you can get rid of these ads.
Oh my word.
With Crunchyroll Premium, you can get all the anime you want.
Yes, that was perfect.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
I think you did a great job with that.
did.
Or like the Wii Sports, nice shot. Nice shot.
Is that what you
Single.
say?
Oh, swear.
Like
Double.
you.
Double.
Look,
What about-
single, double.
EA Sports.
Relation EA Sports. It's in the game.
Yeah.
Goodness.
It's in the
Guys.
game.
Relationships.
Yes.
Let's go.
Relationship.
Dating, marriage,
All
and
right.
Dragon Ball Z.
sports.
So in order to really get an understanding of like the next questions, I'm just gonna ask you to talk a little bit about your story. Like
Okay.
just to start off. How
That's
did you
my
meet?
favorite story.
It's a good story.
How y'all met?
You
is a
want to
good
take
story.
that? You want to start it?
No.
You don't want to?
Oh.
Okay.
I just feel like he's a better story.
Maybe I should start it.
I will.
Sawyer, could you fill in the gaps for us?
You've been around long enough.
So
That's awesome.
Brian
I'll let
had
you
dreads at
lead.
this point.
Yeah, that is true. I did. That is true. I
I'll
did.
let you lead and I'll
Okay,
add.
so this goes all the way back, I want to say, to probably 2001, which is kind of crazy. That's been 20 some years already.
We're dating ourselves.
And we both went to Millersville University, and I was studying to be, at the time, an English teacher, and Nicole was studying to be an elementary school teacher. Aww. And I had relationships prior to the one that I'm going to mention, but I had dated Nicole's best friend. I know it sounds shady and scandalous, so here we go. Buckle your seatbelts. It's coming out. But when I was dating her best friend, I decided that I was going to do it differently. And up to that point, like I was a Christian, I was a believer. I certainly wasn't perfect in it by any means. And there was definitely sin in my life. I was a young Christian, had gotten saved at 19 years old. And I was an extremely insecure person. I just was. Like, there's no other way to say it. The history that I had with rejection. And so anytime, honestly, like a girl showed interest, it was like a boost to self-esteem, morale, and stuff like that. And I realized, like, up to that point, prior to dating her best friend, like, my motives were off. I wasn't in healthy relationships. And I'm like, I really want to date a Christian. I really want to do it right, And so while I'm dating this young girl, I wind up meeting Nicole. And it gets more scandalous. Oh, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop
just
it. Are you ready? Okay.
Yesterday was scandalous too. Just drop
Yeah, we were
it.
talking to Kayla and Bethany, and I was like, this just seems like a rom-com plot.
Yeah. So I'm dating her best friend, and that relationship really only lasted 3 months, to be honest. But in that window of time, she went out on a date with Pastor Adam, who was my best friend. I told you it was going to get even more scandalous.
Word.
So, your reaction.
Brian Connolly.
They want to know the history
The tea.
of our story. Now,
Give me this cup. I have the tea. You give me this cup. I have the tea.
Public record.
Now, and I will tell you this for everybody that's watching, because most people that subscribe probably are praise people and beyond. Adam has a formula when he takes people on dates, and I'm going to give it to you. He used to. I don't know if he still does, because he's married now to Erica.
Still uses it on Erica.
Yeah, maybe he does.
This feels oddly familiar to me.
20-some years later,
I'm done.
still using the same
formula.
Are you ready?
Yes.
So I take them to Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, it's
kind
not
of close
much
to that.
better than that.
So hang on, it's
are you
kind of close.
serious?
I'm dead serious. So his formula was Olive Garden dinner.
Oh.
Okay. Probably the breadsticks, the whole 9 yards, all of it.
Yeah, dipping sauce, all of it.
Ski ball.
Ski ball.
Nice.
Yes, he would
At the
take
mall.
them and play skee ball at the mall.
That's
Then
just
he
an
would take
excuse to
them.
play skee ball. He just really likes skee ball. So
He really wants those tickets. He's really trying to get that prize.
he's trying to save up.
Then he'd take them back to his dorm room and they'd watch the movie Rounders.
Yeah.
Which
Every time.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was his formula. And Rounders
I
is
can
about
attest to
Texas
it,
Hold'em
that's
poker,
exactly what
and
he
Edward Norton's in it, and Matt
Yeah.
Damon and stuff like that. And he did that to my now wife. So anyway,
It was one date, one dinner.
one date, and somehow it
Obviously.
it didn't win. It didn't work. The formula, there's something wrong with it, right?
I wonder.
Hang on,
when
let
I
me
was-
write this down.
If you're taking notes, Olive Garden,
Don't take the
skee
notes.
ball, Rounders.
Rounders.
Okay?
Don't take the notes.
It sounds like Mr. Plum, or Professor Plum in the study with the candlestick.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm dating her best friend at the time, and this is what I've learned. Just because somebody says that they're a Christian with their words doesn't mean that they have the fruit of it in their life. And so I quickly found out, like, as I'm dating her, but at the same time, like, I was really blinded by the fact that I felt like I was doing the right thing. And in the midst of me dating a Christian, which she was, don't get me wrong, she was, but in the midst of me dating a Christian, I shelved God. Like, she really became an idol in my life. And it's not an exaggeration. Like, she became everything, and she substituted for my relationship with God because I'm doing it right. I'm dating a Christian, right? And so this is going back to the days of American Instant Messenger, where you could actually text, like, on the computer and stuff, and bidading, 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 like, that's how it would talk, right? And she broke up with me over American Instant Messenger between the fall semester and spring semester, so right around Christmas time.
That's like breaking up over
But
Snapchat.
pause
I know.
For just a second.
Yes.
In that time, they both came to my house.
That's
one
true.
evening.
Yep, you can interject
And
that.
he met my parents. And my mom said to me after they left, I hope you marry a guy like him someday.
Wow.
Isn't
And
that
her mom was
crazy?
super cool. I
Yeah.
love her mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, even while I'm at her mom's house, I'm like,
Yeah.
and I loved her stepdad, and I loved, her, like, they had crosses all over the wall because her dad was really into you know, his faith and things like that. So this girl breaks up with me over American Instant Messenger, and I was like, yeah, it was. Anyhow, so I wind up going into my bedroom. I'm trying to like kind of like piece together what just happened, and I look over at my nightstand next to my bed, and I'm at home, and there sat my Bible unopened for 3 straight months, and I just start weeping, like literally crying. And the whole reason I'm crying is because I realized in that moment she took the place of something that she shouldn't have taken, and I kind of went back, repented, changed my mind, turned wholeheartedly back to the Lord. But that breakup only solidified the insecurity, made me feel like, okay, there's another rejection. And so I kind of dovetailed and like spiraled out and like low self-esteem, you know, a little bit. And I was coming up on soon to be my senior year in college. And what happened was, it was the fall of my senior year, and I hadn't seen you in months.
No.
Do you want to take over this part of the story, or do you want me to keep going with it? Okay. So it's the beginning of a new semester, my last year, and I have a class in what's called Byerly Hall. I've been in Byerly Hall a lot. It's where all my psychology classes were, because I had a minor in psychology, and it was a psychology and religion class. Yeah. And I go in the building, and I cannot, as a senior, find my class, and it's humiliating.
It's
like
embarrassing.
You've been on that campus for years. I'm like, where is room 321? I'm like, why can't I find this? And there's only 2 floors in the building, so there is no 321, right? So I'm walking around, and I finally just swallow pride. I'm late as it is, and there's a teacher out in the hall, and I say, excuse me, can you help me find this classroom? She says, honey, you're not looking at the right spot. You're looking at your classroom number, not your room number. So I get the room number. I go into my class. I sit down. The class is packed. It was one of those like gen eds that everybody wanted to take, because it was an easy class. I sit in the front of the class, and as I'm sitting there, I hear this, Brian. And I turn around, and there she is leaning out of the row, waving. Yeah, and I'm like, hey, you know, and I'm like excited to see her. Haven't seen her in a long time.
And who was trailing in behind you late?
Adam was trailing in behind me.
Late.
I'm going to let you all in another little secret.
With skee ball.
Because I lived with this man for a long time.
This really feels like a Brian like an Adam exposure episode.
He was notorious for getting out of the shower and sitting on the couch just wrapped in a blanket or wrapped in a towel, and realizing he had 5 minutes to get to class. And he would show up in his class with untied Timberland boots,
baggy sweatpants,
a tie-dyed Grateful Dead shirt, and a flannel over top, just completely disheveled, not giving a care in the world.
He walked in just like that.
Just like that.
This happened often.
Yes.
The fact that you guys know the fit.
Oh yeah. So I'm in the front of the room. Nicole's waving. The professor goes through roll call. And as he's going through the roll, I'm not even paying attention. He gets to, you know, Brian Connolly here. And Nicole's name at the time was Nicole Stroh. I wasn't paying attention. And as he's going, though, he doesn't call her name. And as he's going through roll call, she pulls out her schedule, realizes she's in the wrong class. She's not supposed to be there.
Class that was similar to mine in title or whatever. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah. But. So she, as he's kind of going through the syllabus, which most professors first day, they go through the syllabus and they let you out super early. He's going through the syllabus. Hey, here's your assignments. Here's what's due next. And he's like, have a great day. See you guys next class. So I hop up, ready to turn around and, you know, and greet Nicole and say hi and just kind of pick up where we left off. And she's gone. She's not there. I'm like, that is shady as all get out. I'm like, you don't get to hey and then just like bounce and like not say a word.
It was a ghost.
Yeah.
A figment of your imagination.
Yeah. She was never there.
So again, we don't, you know, we have cell phones, but nobody's texting, I think, at this point. So I send her this email like, hey, so good to see you. Would love to catch up, blah, blah, blah. And so we wound up, I think I came over to see your apartment. We wound up, you know, hanging out, and I met her roommate. Her roommate, super cool. And then it just became this thing where it was me and Adam and Craig, my other roommate, would hang out with you and Katie, and we would do things all the time together. And over time, though, I'm like,
movies, just do whatever.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Eat meals together and stuff. But over time, that age-old thing like rose up, and I'm like, okay. And this is now Valentine's Day, right? So fall, when we went in the classroom. So, you know, you got September, October, November, December, January. February comes. We go out Valentine's Day, you, me, Katie, and her mom, right? No strings attached. No date. Like, no, nothing like... no ulterior motive, but at the same time, like I'm really developing like legit feelings. Now, at the same time, I'm getting ready to leave for seminary because it was also around that time just before, you know, the fall and my senior year that I felt called into ministry. So I know I've got plans to go to Wilmore, Kentucky, actually where Asbury's revival is happening right now, to go to seminary.
Tiny town.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. I really feel like I need to say something, but I've done that before and it's blown up in my face. And like, hey, we're friends. Do you want to go to the next level? But what if it doesn't work out? Well, at least we can still be friends, but then that never happens. You know, it just kind of blows everything up. So we come back to my apartment and we drove together in your Mustang. It was a 2002 Ford Mustang, which is an awesome car. And we come back and it's freezing cold outside because it's February. And I'm standing outside the driver's side door and she has her window down and she's talking to me and we're talking and I am nervous as all get out because I'm like, I'm going to go for it. Like full blown swing the bat and see what happens. And I don't even remember what I said.
Single.
It could have been, buddy, it was like a foul ball. Like it wasn't even a single. So it was so like, I don't even remember what I said. It was one of those like blackout moments. And I was probably like, do you want to date? I don't know what I said, but it was like,
do you like bread?
yeah, it was.
I like bread. Do you want to go to Panera?
So, oh my gosh. And I must have said something that definitely hinted to the fact that I wanted it to be more than what it was. And no lie, and a lot of people, you know this story.
Shocked. They love it though.
She looks at me and says, I'll have to think about it. Puts it in reverse and just takes off. And I'm just standing there in the cold. And I'm like,
I know.
that
sounds harsh.
That's it. It's over. It's not going anywhere.
I felt that though.
Oh,
I felt that.
Well, here's what's so bad. At the time, Adam, myself, and some of my friends were leading a Bible study on campus. There was a girl there that was into me and wanted to be with me. And in my insecurity and in my like, oh God, here we go again. Like I started giving hints towards this girl, like, well, hey, if I'm not with somebody, I can at least hang around with you, right? So like, it was bad. It was bad, Ayana. It was bad. And she was a sweet girl, and she's wonderful. In fact, she's doing really neat things for the Lord right now. But I was like in that weird spot where it's like I needed to be with somebody to be okay. Like it really. I know it sounds shallow, but like I was still just a very wounded person trying to find my way and find my identity. And so one night we were hosting a spaghetti dinner at my apartment, and everybody from the Bible studies there, and this young lady's there, and that girl's there, and this lady knows that girl is interested in me.
Yeah.
And so everybody left, but this girl and Nicole. And it was like this standoff to see like who was going.
Okay.
Yeah.
It really was like this. It was this standoff, right?
Explain.
Yeah. Now you got to pick it up.
Yeah, I knew what was going on, and I was just like, no, like, because I did have feelings for you.
Yeah.
I just, well, I'll get into that. So I was like, no, I'm gonna wait her out, and I did, and I'm glad I did because.
A competitive spirit.
Yeah, there was just something competitive about
something
it.
Latina inside of her.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Gotta take a DNA test.
Yeah. So to explain that a little bit more, I had been in a relationship, I think we started dating my sophomore year of high school. And so we had dated for about 5 years altogether.
Wow.
It ended in my freshman year. And that was pretty much the only person I've ever really dated seriously. And, of course, at that time, I thought we were in it for the long haul. We were going to get married and... I was in love, and it ended, and it was just a toxic relationship. Now that I look back on it, of course, when you're in it, you don't see it. You're blinded. It was just not godly. He was a Christian. We both went to church and did all the things, but it was definitely not a God-centered relationship by any means. But he cheated on me multiple times, and it was just not good. It was not healthy. And my freshman year, I had like a self-discovery again, just kind of figuring out who I was, because for so long it was just him and I. And I went to a Christian counselor on campus, and it just did wonders. So yeah, I was in the midst of coming out of that and just like liking myself and like just being cool with who I was. So I was very apprehensive of jumping into something and being hurt like that again. And especially knowing that he was leaving. Kentucky's not close.
No, it was 11 hours. Yeah, it's 11 hours.
It's like,
gap.
can we do this? You know, and we had hung out so much. I mean, I was over there all the time. I was helping. Yeah. I would clean for you guys.
she
I would.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pastor Adam is not the
Yeah.
kindliest individual.
Yeah.
Just so we know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he sat on the couch in a
I was
towel.
just like a part of the like.
You were one of the boys.
Yeah, I was just one of the boys.
Yeah.
But
And my friends loved her.
Yeah.
They loved her, especially my one friend Craig. Like he would love when she, and you know how you know you have a good girl, Sawyer? She would
she's
watch
friends
me
with the
play
guys.
countless
I would
hours
sit
of
there.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Final
You were a
Fantasy.
nerd for Final Fantasy.
I love that stuff.
wow.
Yeah. And she would sit and she would watch it. She would
Halo,
eat up.
all of it.
She'd watch Lord of the Rings with me. She'd watch everything.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Did you enjoy any of this?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
so you did. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes it all the better.
She's like, no.
He's like, no, but I did it for him. So
Yeah, then I'd be like, oh, that's sweet. Only by
Yeah.
God. Because
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
So that's why I drove away. That's why I left him, because I was scared. I was scared of
For
the
me, it's the
heartbreak.
reverse.
Yeah,
And,
you know how I picture that scene? I pictured like, I'll let you know.
I mean, all
squealing.
that was in me wanted to say yes, you know, but I needed to just make sure, because at that point, I knew that
Just standing in the cold, just like head down.
It's like a Fast and Furious.
my girls are like, why did you do that to Dad? I'm like,
my gosh.
I look like such a villain,
You're
but
obviously married now. But continue.
right. I think it's great.
Right.
I just knew at that point, if I was going to actually date and be serious, it was for marriage. It wasn't.
And that's how I
just
felt too. Yeah, because like the reality of it was, okay, if I don't find somebody, I would say to the Lord, like, Lord, if I don't find somebody in college and if I don't find somebody in seminary, I ain't going to the bar looking for somebody.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. You know, like, who's it going to be,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So,
I just didn't want to waste time. So
yeah.
And continue. I thought I felt like you were going to say more.
I feel like I need a tissue. Like, my nose is running
Dude, we
out
have
from
like
laughing.
4
And,
boxes in here. So
No one can really throw one. You want a piece of the paper?
No, don't do that.
I have most of the notes. I've had terrible.
Poor
don't
Michaela,
have
she's
any
like, I'm
tissues
trying
in
to
the
film.
office?
And she's up walking around.
okay.
Tissue break, y'all.
I don't.
Are we
If Jeff
taking a
wasn't
time out?
inundated, I'd ask Jeff, but clearly he's busy, so he can't help
What's
me
the
right
plant's name? Does he have what is it,
Thanks,
Benny or
Michaela.
Vincent or?
oh, I named that bird over there Larry, so it's
Larry.
Larry Bird.
Larry,
now.
why aren't you
Let's just
helping?
mute this a minute.
We should keep it for fun. Oh, you muted him.
He has been muted.
But I feel like they can still hear it. Like,
No, when I laugh, dude, I start crying. Everything
that was
starts
something
coming.
else.
Yes.
she was explaining something. I saw y'all rocking back. But, okay.
The reason why that's so funny, it was a rear wheel drive car, so she could like, and they could just like take off and
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a baddie.
Side note, I think this is also equally funny. Adam, I think, was somewhat dating Erica around
Yeah.
that same time. And so when we went out on that Valentine's
She did the
dinner,
same thing.
my roommate's mom bought some sort of heart-shaped cookie.
It was a heart-shaped
yeah.
chocolate chip cookie.
And she put it on Adam's car thinking it was Brian's, or I don't know
I
who.
forget what the story
And
was.
so Erica thought Adam had this other girl leave this.
Well, here's why.
Cookie.
Here's why. Okay, because here's something else that Adam did, and this was sweet. Like, don't get me wrong. This poor guy. Like, I'm really not. He's my best friend for everybody watching. I
We love
him.
you,
Yes.
Adam.
Exposure.
It's just funny. Like, and Erica's gonna die if she ever watches this. So what he
she's gonna
did,
listen.
when we had the Bible study, and Erica used to get jealous. He would buy girls Bibles that didn't have them.
Yeah,
out of the
I've heard the
kindness
story.
of his heart, right? Like he would do that.
Just out of the kindness.
Right. But Erica, like no hidden motive, not like, hey, I'm shady and I'm trying to use Jesus to get to you, you know? So Erica like got jealous. And I think she thought like, this is like, okay, a response, like
To a Bible.
like one of his suitors, you know what I mean? Like he's, you know,
Like he opens up the jack and it's just Bibles. He just opens up the
They're
jack
all
and they're just a
pink.
bunch of
just
Bibles.
stealing it. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's why, yeah, she,
It was
but at the
funny.
same time though, like in Erica's defense, she too was nervous, had been in a previous long-term relationship. And there was
she
a
knew
lot
he
of
was
that.
leaving.
She knew he was leaving. And, but you know, same thing, like even though when I was with Nicole's best friend prior, nothing changed with the motive of, I want to do this right. I don't want to treat girls like flavors of ice cream. I don't want to test drive the car. And there was a distinct moment, I'll never forget it, where we were dating and she was getting her tonsils taken out. And I
was in
remember
rough shape.
I remember being in the hospital with her. We were in college. And I remember sitting there holding her hand because it's worse. Like the older you get, it's so
It was
much worse
really
to get
rough.
your tonsils taken out, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in the hospital and I was holding her hand, and I can't explain it. Like, it was up to that point. Like, I know people can hear the voice of God. Obviously I believe that now. I've taught classes on it, but at that time I wouldn't have told you like I've heard the voice of the Lord, you know, aside from I've had impressions, you know, and I feel like I'm supposed to do this. That was one of the defining moments where I felt like the Lord said, this is who I want you to be with. It was so real to me, to the point that like, when there was one time we were at my grandparents' house, I think it was at my grandparents' house. Your mom seems to think it was at her house, where we just like looked at each other and we're
It
like,
was your grandparents' house.
yeah,
Mom's wrong.
yeah. And I was like, are we doing this? Like, you know, are we going to be in this for the long haul? And like, there was no crazy sappy, like,
I proposed at a gas station.
like there was no Jim Halpert and Pam Halpert in the rain and driving and meeting halfway and all that stuff. There was just the reality of, I think this is the Lord. And I want to be with you, and like I want to be committed to you, you know, knowing full well that I was going to go down to seminary, you know, and be, you know, 11 hours away or 10 hours away or whatever it was. And so we were just like, yeah, we feel like this is God, and that's what it was, you know, and that's what we did. And like every day, I mean, it'll be 19 years coming up, May 24th or May 29th that we've been married. And every day, like just more in love, more infatuated with, because the more you know a person, which really is what marriage is, like it's this ongoing knowing of exchanging personality, and like it's when you know somebody that you love them. Otherwise it's I love what they do for me.
Yeah.
I love how they make me feel, versus no, I love who you are and I get to explore that, you know, with you, and I know it makes you tick, and we finish each other's sentences, you know, and you know, and there are times where it's like, you know, obviously we also know what annoys one another too. You know, sometimes we pick, you know, and we push, you know, those buttons sometimes, but yeah, it was, you know, absolutely no. It's funny because I just read, like, you know, how, like if you swipe on your phone, it says like, here's the news feed or whatever. And somebody said like 15 people that like, you know, gave comments after they settled down with their partners, and the amount of people that like actually rue the fact that they settled down, and like almost like, that's what I'm looking for. Wish they could kind of go back and do it different. I'm like, really? Like, they're just like, now that I settled down, I wish I wouldn't have. And I'm like, that's the polar opposite. Like, I would do it all over again, you know, hand over foot. So, yeah.
I do have a question about that. I know, sorry, like something flew out, like,
Hello, little dribble.
Oh,
sorry.
Hey, Jeff. There we go. Sorry, Jeff.
I was like,
Jeff times two.
Yeah.
But, the question is, I know you described like that moment, that feeling. How did you know it was from God? Because I feel like I'll like talk to people sometimes. Yeah. And they'll be like, oh, and they'll be Christians, so they'll be like my age, and they'll be like, oh, I felt something, but it's obvious that it's not with the right person. Like you can, even the people around them are like, no, like that's not it.
Well, that's a huge point. Like, I think a lot of times, like, we're afraid to listen to the wisdom around us. Like, because sometimes it's the people around us that see the blind spots you don't see, right? Yeah. And they might be picking up like, hey, your motive's a little off, or like, hey, I just don't think this person's a good fit. And like, we can justify anything. Like, I was convinced God wanted me to be with her best friend. And it's what I did with that became twisted, you know, and weird, and it became, you know, I idolized the relationship. I idolized that I was doing it right. But for me, it was one of those moments where I wasn't in that time weighing in my head, like, should I not, you know, like picking, you know, petals off of, you know, a flower, like, do I not kind of thing. I was just in the room with her, and spontaneously it was this thing that's like, this is what I have for you. And I was like, and the fact that I wasn't like sitting down with like, you know, a legal pad, writing a pro column and a cons column, you know, of why should I, why shouldn't I? I wasn't even asking the question. Spontaneously it hit me, and I was like, that's not me. There's no way that's me. And that's how a lot of times the Lord talks to me. I mean, I can be in the shower or like driving in the car, and bang, like I'll just have this sudden impression where I'm like, well, that's one of three places. Either that's me, or that's the devil, or that's God, right? And so
it's
for me,
the Jesus gun.
Yeah. So I was just
bang.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, like, and at the same time, like, I do think, Ayanna, I know sometimes we can be deceived in our own heart. I do think I really did want to do it right. Like, I do think I really wanted to have a Christian marriage. I do think I really wanted to, have a God-centered marriage. And I know that she was looking for the same thing. So like that was always lingering in the back of my mind, Were we perfect in our relationship? No, not necessarily. Were there some things we would do differently? Probably. But at the same time, like I know motivationally, I think it was right. And so I think God just spoke.
It felt easy and peaceful. It didn't, and there were no red flags from anyone. And
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that's good. No red flag.
Yeah.
It's just, because I just wanted to ask that because I know sometimes like I'll see that like some people be like, I just know, and it's like, do you really now, sis?
Yeah.
Don't seem like you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then as well as like you're obviously in a. I thought I silenced my phone. The group chat is going off and it's annoying me.
It's the council.
It's
Mace Windu calling.
We call it Jeremiah's Grippers, and that's the name. It's like after this guy's toes. He's a friend of ours.
What?
That's
His
the name of the
toes?
group chat. Yeah, his grippers.
Does he hang from them or something?
Oh, I guess
He's like a vampire.
I was gonna say, is he hanging in a cave somewhere?
It's also he's the quietest in the group chat, and I don't really know him all compared to everybody else. So like, I guess we just had a picture of his toes once, and then suddenly it's
pretty
Jeremiah.
gnarly.
Sorry, Jeremiah.
He clips his
member
nails.
of the youth group. Somehow they opened my phone and went to my Instagram and they changed my name. They changed my profile picture to their toes.
Oh no.
To what?
To their toes.
Oh my Lord. That's awesome.
Ugh,
That is
it was
gnarly.
hilarious, and they didn't tell me until like a day after.
That's rough.
It was funny though.
But it is funny.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. You know what? We might just have to extend this a little bit because I
No,
have
we
a few
keep
more
going.
questions that I want to get into. Whenever God says stop, is God says stop, which is obviously okay. Anyways, so whoa. All right, give me a second.
Okay.
So give me a second.
All right. This must be heavy.
No, it was my brain dying for a second.
It's just,
I mean, maybe it was,
Right.
but no,
it's
my
like
brain
the
felt
zoom
dead
in,
for a
and it's
second.
just like the toy of the monkey clapping the.
No, that's what's going. That's what goes on most of the time. Like that's
I
what
feel
goes
like
on
that
my
all the
head.
time too. So
Yeah, I just like, and I can envision it too. But obviously, a relationship is from now is much different for them. You guys have kids and you guys have grown. So how do you maintain kind of your relationship now? I feel like sometimes couples, like married couples, I hear like, oh, I have a hard time, or like my dad would be like, I just want to spend time with your mom more. Well, like because they don't really have the time. So how do you guys maintain that communion with each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it can be challenging. And there are seasons where we are able to, I feel like, have more time together than others. Like right now is a really busy season with him doing doctoral work and having a puppy. 4 months today.
Awesome.
Yeah, and having 4 kids. One of them being a teen who's getting ready to probably thrive sooner than later.
attitude.
So yeah, the sass. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It can be a lot, and we homeschool. So we're together all the time, which it's been a huge blessing. It really has. This has been our first year. But I think just making time, even if it's not for long periods of time, just making sure we check in on each other, like talk about the day, just what's on our mind, what's on our heart, just making time, scheduling dates.
I will say the probably one of the biggest saving graces in our relationship is we have never kept anything from the other person ever. There's no secrets in our relationship whatsoever. And I'm always mortified. Like when I hear Emma often will talk about, some of her friends and how parents keep things from one another. I'm like, oh, that's just so weird to me. Cause like her friends are like shocked like that we tell each other everything. Like there is nothing like if I'm struggling, like
Well, and we can read each other.
Yeah, that's true. Like, it's like you know a person after a while, right? But I think like when Nicole said, it is about being intentional, but I can't think of an evening where after the kids are in bed where we're not hanging out together, all the time. Like whether that is like, okay, because sometimes like we can sit down and just watch something together and not say a word, but we're together. Like, and there's still, it's odd. Like there's still this sense of we're connected, and things like that. But we have built such a history of going through hardship together, going through challenging times. I mean, like even doing Faith Like Birds, like we've been stretched in faith together. Because like if people don't partner, like there's no guaranteed, paycheck. I mean, you're really running on the kindness and, of the Lord and the kindness of his people and things like that. So going through, this, people know about this, but I mean, even when I was battling, pornography for the first so many years of our relationship, that wasn't hidden. That wasn't a secret. That was out in the open. And so you build trust through communication. Like, so even when you're not communicating in your heart, you're like, well, even if they're not saying something, they're not hiding anything. And so that trust has been the bedrock, I think, of our relationship. Like, I know she would never keep anything from me. I don't keep anything, even like with the kids, like, if she had a bad day with the kids, she tells me about it, and stuff like that. So, that's probably the biggest thing, is just the way that we communicate a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we actually had somebody years ago say we wouldn't make it to 7 years of marriage, and here we are.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
wow.
was odd.
That was odd.
That's very odd.
Yeah.
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 I guess because a lot of marriages end by the 7th
Right.
year.
Well, there's a difference when God is on your relationship.
Yeah.
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
You have more of a guidance, especially the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. So it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Probably that statistic is from families who are not, since when you gather data, it's just kind of random most times.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
I think
it's different.
too, because we are on this journey with like doing ministry together in a way. I mean, he's more on the front lines. But that has brought us, I think, even closer too, because it's just this huge trust and
Yeah.
just this immense, you have to have immense faith, and
Yeah.
to be able to do it together and to see what God's done for us individually, for us as a couple, for us as a family, and the ministry, it just like blows your mind. It's like, oh my goodness. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Brian's on the front line, just fighting guys, and then Nicole's behind
I'm
us
on the
as like the
sidelines cheering.
tank, just like the tank firing things from a distance
Aw.
Fighting all these sheets people.
Yeah.
Just smacking
Yeah.
them in the head.
Yeah.
with a Wawa hoagie.
Like the long ones, just
Oh
It's
my
amazing.
gosh.
It's
Yeah.
whipping that thing out, like beating them over the head. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could have actually envisioned that. That's funny to me.
It's just like a 10-foot long Wawa.
Yeah. I'll tell you what is also awesome, and I say this every wedding that I do, is I'll usually use our relationship kind of as my preaching point. And usually the first thing I'll say is, I've settled in my heart that she can never be for me what God can be for me. So that frees her from unnecessary expectations to be like, oh, I need to be perfect. And a lot of times in relationships, it's built on expectations. Like, if you do this, then I'll do that. And if you don't do this, then I'm upset and I'm going to let you know, and I'll withhold my affection from you. And so for me, and I grew up in a home like that, so it's brutal, that kind of manipulation. But for me, because I am intentional with my relationship with God, it frees her from being the Lord for me, so I don't, there's no string attached. Like, it's not like, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to pull away, And so it's learning that early on, that you're supposed to be dead, to yourself, and you wake up to love that person, not for them to do you right, So am I perfect at that? By no means, but I certainly don't camp there and stay there. Like, I'll apologize, like, if I let something bother me, whatever, because I realize I have no right in Christ to do that. Like, I don't reserve the right to be upset, unforgiving, full of bitterness, and things like that. So that has been probably the biggest source of freedom in our relationship, is it's God that satisfies that for me, So
Just being selfless. I think in marriage, to have a good marriage, you need to be selfless.
Yeah. If you're not, and kids come around, that's even more of a whammy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Big
How
money,
has
no
that changed
whammies.
everything?
Just because I think it was something we wanted. And because the biggest challenge for us sometimes is, like, I grew up so much different than she did.
So we both grew up in divorced households.
Yeah. But
different.
I grew up in a home
dynamics.
where, like, my mom, God love her, like, didn't know how to wrangle 4 unruly boys. And so we ran the show, and there was zero discipline. She grew up in a very structured home where there was a lot
Very
of discipline. So I tend to be a little bit more lenient than she does, and I tend to come across as more of the nurturer and the counselor than she does.
She's
But
the
that-
tank.
Crack that
She
whip.
is.
Okay.
But what happens a lot of times is, and I
We
heard
meet in the middle.
yeah, I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say this. A lot of times, like, in a situation like ours, the mom almost will take on, the mother of girls will often take on, like, a fatherly role, because she is trying to shape that child to be who she is or to be like her because she knows the potential paths that child can go down. So usually the mom's harder on the female than the father is.
Makes a lot of sense.
Whereas with boys, like, and so like a lot of times I remember Nick Billman telling me that. He says with the boys, he goes, they don't get away with anything. But with my girls, he goes, oh my gosh, I'm just a pushover. So with me, they wear me down a whole lot easier than they do her.
Yeah.
And so like, but with boys, same thing. If you're a father, like you're trying to make them into the man you know they can be. So fathers are more difficult on their sons than they are on their daughters. So it's interesting, but it's a good balance.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I feel like the mom sometimes. It's strange. Like the more the nurturer.
Well, I
you
feel
know?
like I feel like that could be where like a mommy's boy comes from, or like daddy's
That's
girl.
true.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah, because it's like I saddle up, or I come up towards the one that seems to be sympathetic, compassionate. Yeah, 100%.
When you run to like, I just got you.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and they've made that comment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dad's better than or I like dad better, and then I'm just like, and I know what they're saying.
Yeah.
They don't want to be corrected. Nobody likes being corrected or disciplined.
So
right?
funny. On Sunday, they all flocked like to him and his vehicle because we drove separate.
Yeah.
And I was like,
They want to
yes,
be
I
with
get the
dad.
car.
And it's not like I'm never home. You know what I mean? It's not like this void where it's like, and they need to like Velcro to me. It was, I'm like, okay, here we go. We'll just,
Nicole's like, I can finally listen to what I want to.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, I can finally
Peace
listen to the
out. You think
Backstreet
you're
Boys.
insulting me, but you're actually really just giving me
Yeah, I'm giving me freedom.
Yeah, I realized that. So what I'll do is I'll like, if I see all the boys going in one car, I'll go in the other car because I know it's gonna be quieter. And then
That's
my mom,
funny.
Raquel, be looking at me like, why like why don't you go with the rest of the kids? Because it's gonna be loud.
Right.
Yeah, but my mom's the same way. I guess now that you say that, I'm kind of processing like, I never thought of it that way because it was me and my mom before.
Every
me
once
and-
in a
Yeah,
while,
and she'll be
one of
harder
them will
on
come
you.
with me,
Yeah, especially in your situation because she had to be both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Till Tony came in, so like she had to be both parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just give me something to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, we are running out of time. We're running out
Oh,
of
I think,
time.
too much
that
fun.
But
Yeah, I think that
I
seems
have
like
one more important
It was the
question.
Adam stories.
It
That's
was.
what
It was.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
No,
They're
you're
funny,
good.
but it's
Yeah,
one
that
more
was fun.
important question because this is more for personal, and I know other people. So like, I have like, not really. I enjoy being alone. I thrive off of it, but I also kind of realize I do have a fear of relationship in that way.
Yeah.
Like I desire it, but it's also like back off. Like, and so I was talking because these conversations have been coming up with my mom, and she's like, "You're very confrontational with guys. Like they'll look at you, like they'll just look at you, be like, like and what? Like I'm just one of those people."
Wow. Yeah.
And so she was kind of like, so that's why the question's like, I'm like, I kind of fizzled down during my prayer time, like, oh, I think I have a fear, like, to be in a relationship like that because of like pastor rejection, past stuff. So how did you guys struggle in that? How did you deal with it? Like well, we can push it in. Yeah, in a summary, how would you say what helped you get over that? Because it sucks.
Yeah, I did struggle with that, to be honest with you, Ayana, because of my history with rejection. Like I craved what I was afraid of. Like I wanted intimacy, but it scared me at the same time because it was like, do I dare myself to actually hope for and believe that it's going to last? Or is it just another carrot hanging on a string and it's going to be pulled away from me again? So there's always that potential of how much do I let myself be known? And how much do I really get to know that person where everybody seems to leave me and I'm always by myself anyway, And so what changed for me was, first off, Nicole is one of the most faithful, kind-hearted, gracious people that I know. And I'm not just saying that because I'm married to her. I mean, like, but that is one of the most endearing qualities of who she is. Like she is committed. She's not going to go anywhere. But aside from, no matter how great she modeled that, until God touches that area in your life, it's still the potential for you to build a wall, no matter how great the other individual is. That, again, going back to what I said earlier, that individual cannot do for me what only God could do for me. So I needed the Lord to touch those areas where I was hurt, that were off limits, that I built walls around, right? So the wall, it protects me. It doesn't. It keeps out the one that actually wants to touch and heal your heart. So that's why it says, the Spirit of the Lord God's on me to do what? To bind the brokenhearted. I'm near to the brokenhearted. And I had a broken heart. That's what rejection does. It breaks, it's not the physical heart, but it just breaks your spirit, right? It's not a good thing. And so what changed for me was I spent a lot of time meditating on the fact that God actually desired me, like that he actually wanted me. And that began to break down my walls. And so now, like, regardless if she leaves or if she stays, I'm okay, because now I'm not saying that wouldn't hurt and probably smash me to bits. It probably would. But I have an eternal lover that is he doesn't just want to spend eternity with me. He wants to be with me right now. And that's always been the strength of my alone time with him. As I go in there, I'm like, he really wants me. He really pursues me. And so now I can let that wall down and not have to constantly build it back up brick and mortar. And I can let myself be known. In fact, I tell on myself a lot. Like sometimes I probably share details with people, but I'm open with her. She knows that. And we can have that intimacy. And that, again, I think that's part of the bedrock is, so therefore I do communicate. I'm not holding anything back. And there are times where it's like, oh, I hate having to admit this, because you don't want them to know that, 'cause you're afraid that rejection is going to come if I share that, but she's always compassionate, always understanding. And regardless though, if she gets it or not, or if she rejects me in the moment, like there's still one that no matter what I do, he's always going to say, you can come and be with me because I want to be with you.
Absolutely.
So, but I don't know if she struggled with that like I did. Our past was so much more different in that regard.
I mean, early on in that long relationship, I lost myself, I didn't know who I was outside of it. And I didn't really grow up with a father figure that I felt love from, because I didn't see my real dad a lot, and I didn't really connect with my stepdad until later on in life. And so there was this void, and I think I just sought love and attention from this person. And because I didn't know that love from the father yet. And that just, when I rediscovered myself and the Lord, my freshman year after that relationship ended, things really changed. That was part of, I think I had a little bit of fear, dating again, and like, will I be cheated on again? Like, am I just that girl who will just constantly let that happen, But it didn't really last long. I mean, if it wasn't like something that like gripped me and like consumed me. Because we hung out all the time and we just had such a good friendship. I think that was the worst thing, was I was just so afraid to ruin it, because I just loved just hanging out and spending time, and didn't want to ruin that part.
But that's a good lesson in dating. Get to know somebody, be their friend.
And know yourself. Know yourself and just who you are with the Lord first. Yeah. Just be secure in that, because
that's
I
good.
wasn't.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I would have told myself like, hey.
Just a little tap on the shoulder. Yeah. Oh, and by the way. Yeah. Be funny the information we could use back then that we know now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The benefit of hindsight.
Things.
Yeah.
Like even
I'd probably smack myself in my 20s. Like, what are you doing?
I can't even lie.
Yeah. Smack myself with a Wawa hoagie, sort of.
Just right in the
some
face.
sheets, boy?
Wait. Who do you think you are? You like sheets?
Sheets makes me sick. So every time I hear it, that's the first thing that comes out my mouth. Like,
oh my gosh.
But they did start selling Prime, so.
Prime, like the drink. They
like
still
the
don't
drink.
have the Calypso lemonade, so they can stay back. Anyways,
But Prime, I love it.
Back up. Don't be switching sides.
No, I'm not saying I like Sheets more. They just sell Prime.
I've never had it.
Yeah.
You should get hydrated.
This is the sports drink that he likes.
Oh, it's so good.
He's always drinking it.
Yeah. But I ran out. I gotta get more.
Anyways, wrapping up. Any final thoughts?
I don't want to wrap up. Can I
No,
come
I got
back?
nothing.
Can you come up with another topic?
Actually, yes, we could.
Part 2. Here we go.
I have a few topics in mind just based on this little thing you did. So don't
It'd
worry.
be cool. I feel like, we just kind of scratched the surface. I'll tell you what would be fun is if you actually did it live and you took live questions. That would be
Oh my gosh, my girls were like, are we going to watch you tonight? I was like, it's not live. I'm sorry. I was like,
that'd be cute. I could see. Oh, your daughters are so amazing.
Oh,
I can't tell the difference between the twins.
Yeah, someone told my mom that
on
on Sunday. They're like, I had identical twins, and he's like, but they're really identical. I guess we don't think so anymore.
No, I can tell.
Yeah, you guys.
I can even hear it in
I feel
their
like one
voices.
is more smiley than the other.
Yeah, Hannah's probably. Well, it's.
Which one's more? I feel like when
Shiloh is definitely more dramatic in the sense of like makes faces, like does funny stuff, not in the negative sense, so to speak. Hannah's smiley. They're both shy.
Got it.
So
they probably will just smile because they always feel like people are watching.
I don't know
staring
which
at
one it is, but one never smiles at me. One always smiles at me and looks happy to see me. So I'm like, I don't know which one is which. So I just
I'm gonna
kinda
ask him straight up. Who is it? Which one is it?
I don't know because I'm not even sure they remember. It's always like in
Right.
passing.
Well, when
Points
you
the
come
light at him.
over
Did you do it?
in a couple weeks,
you.
then you'll get to.
Oh yeah, because I
Yeah.
hang out. I have to
Yeah.
put it in my schedule.
Yeah.
Fit it in there because if I don't write it down, I'm gonna
Oh
get
my
a text
gosh, look at all that
message.
good stuff you have on your paper.
All the,
We need to
hit
get
most of-
close to it. Wow.
we didn't hit the Bible verses that I wanted
see
to read
that,
over, but we
yeah.
hit a lot of the stuff because like sometimes people will speak and it just comes
It just
out.
answers
Yeah,
naturally.
it just answers. So I'm like,
that's
I
cool.
don't need to ask that. Well, we're wrapping up. Does anybody want to close in prayer? You can raise your hand.
Sure.
Okay, I guess I am.
Raise your hand.
Yeah. Me.
Yeah. Okay.
Please,
You
God.
can do it.
Yeah.
That guy can
Give
do
him a
it.
round of applause.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna actually clap this time.
Give him
because
a
I
gold
didn't
star.
last
Look,
time. Yeah.
with the program.
Yeah. All right. We'll do it quick. Lord, I just thank you for everybody that's going to watch. Father, I pray that you give them wisdom in relationships and anything, Lord, that they can take away from this in regards to dating, in regards to marriage. I pray, God, that it would serve them and it would bless them, Jesus. I pray that anybody that wants to do it right, Father, I pray that you give them the grace to find that person, Lord, that's going to be best suited for them, where they can be Christ to that individual and that they would have a Christ-centered relationship. And like Nicole said, I pray that they be first rooted and grounded in their own identity and in the love of God so that they have something to give. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Right. I want to thank you guys for coming
Yes,
on.
thank you.
I enjoyed it.
I love
Yeah,
that.
me too.
And I would like to have you back on. And of course, you're always going to pop up.
Yeah, but no, she can come back on by
Yeah.
herself. Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
that's awesome.
Okay.
We got,
Yeah,
we got
I'm down.
the Nicole episode.
Yeah.
I'm down for
I
that.
feel like every time Brian comes on, we just push the like time limit.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, I
it's
like to
okay.
tell stories.
love it.
That's why I have more stories.
No, I
but
love
yeah.
it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
some good
expose
ones
your
tonight.
best friend. I find
Oh
it.
my.
Sorry, Adam.
Sorry, no,
I'll
it's
give
okay.
you
My
one, I'll
mom
give you
does the
one
same
more.
thing.
I'll give you one more.
Oh, no.
Yeah, please.
He was notorious for taking out not just one glass, but he would continue every time he wanted to drink to get a new one and a new one
You didn't watch
and
it?
a new one. And so I passive aggressively, and I don't recommend this,
Paper cups.
taking a
It's a
piece
good
of
solution.
paper and writing on
There
it
was a sign.
as when you opened up the cabinet to get out another cup, it said, before you grab another cup, ask yourself this question. Have I already used a cup today? And if so, why am I getting another one?
That is.
It's very passive aggressive.
I bet he didn't even think of it. He'd be like, oh, huh.
I don't think he appreciated it. I don't think he liked that at all.
I don't know. I feel like he'd just be like,
But
grab
again, it's
another
so
one.
funny because everybody has different tolerance levels for like filth and like what you can
Yeah.
endure, right? You know what I mean? So like, and you know what I mean? Like some people are like, oh yeah, I can live in this dirty room.
My room's clean.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Roaches on the floor, broken mattress.
Clothes are everywhere. Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's
Skeleton
fine.
in the closet. Oh.
So, but I mean, to this day, like I love him. I sing his praises. I would do it
Yeah.
all over again. Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved having him as a roommate. So.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the end of this episode. And yeah, a round of applause to the end of the episode,
Yeah,
too.
let's go.
We like clapping on this show.
Yeah.
All right. Audience members. Well, I was really close. Audience members, please, 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 if you haven't already, which would be kind of strange, no offense, subscribe to our YouTube at Faith Like Birds, our Instagram, and I always want to say Twitter, but we don't have a Twitter. Facebook and TikTok. Yes.
And Apple Podcasts were on there too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know
I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, we found out new information. So
And
Apple
I
Podcasts.
reviewed it and I 5-starred it, and you can 5-star it too. It helps with the algorithm and
fun.
boosts us up. So
Yep.
yeah.
God loves you. Y'all have a good night.
Still looking at you, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
See you, Jeff.